kombucha. Get a gallon jug of some kind. This is just a pickle jar. And these you can pick up from Aldi or Sprouts. They're carbonated, like lemon juice or mandarin juice, but it has that rubber seal top. This gallon batch will make about 6 of these, and it kind of creates the perfect ratio. 4 family-sized tea bags, big ones, is enough for your whole gallon. And you don't need a full gallon boiled. Just do like a liter and a half. Boil that. Put in your tea bags. When you're finished with your kombucha batch, you can use like an old t-shirt, cut it into squares, and then a rubber band to. You want to make sure it's something that can breathe, but that doesn't like contaminants inside. So take your SCOBY out, put it in a second jug. Every batch, it'll grow a little bit larger. You don't need to peel it off every time, but if it's looking too thick, to me, the nastier the SCOBY looks, the better the batch. Sometimes people have these really clean looking, perfect SCOBYs, and then you basically have vinegar. I like it to be sweet and bubbly and not too sweet. But anyway, so that looks okay. I'll just probably reuse that. And gallon jug. Some people might say, oh, how dare you, you're using plastic. It works for me, so if you want to use a metal, whatever, that's fine. Just leave about that much for your next starter batch. I like to mix it because the sediment settles down. Funnel. If you're going to use these particular bottles, which is the best I've found, I go maybe ½ inch below this little date thing here. These are the ones from Aldi. But as I mentioned, Sprouts has the same type of bottle, and they're only about $2 to $3 with the lemonade in it, the carbonated lemonade. But these bottles are nice because they're actually extra thick glass, and as this ferments on the second ferment, when we add juice, of course pressure builds, and the glass is never broken on me. I have friends that have made it, and their glass bottles will break. So once you know you've got enough in your bottles, then I would suggest taking this, adding it to your SCOBY. Set that off to the side. The best thing I've found, I've tried probably 30 different juices, really cost effective and turns out awesome every time usually. Welch's 100% grape juice. Another good option is apple juice. And I found sometimes even cutting the grape juice with something like some cherry juice, or if you want to do like some sort of blend of apple and orange, can turn out well. But whatever you want to, just experiment with that part of it, see what you like. So fill the rest of the bottle with your juice of choice, and I generally go, about there. It's probably fine. You can go a little higher if you want, and that one's ready to go. A lot of people, pretty much everybody I've ever talked to that makes kombucha, I let my first ferment go for 10 to 30 days, something crazy. 10 is like the absolute max if you want it to come out tasting, not tasting like vinegar, you know, I should say. I do mine once a week every week. And then the second ferment, which is this bottling process, in the summer when it's a little bit warmer, you can go like 2 days and it's already going to be extremely bubbly and ready to go if you want it a little sweeter. I wouldn't go more than like 4 days or something in the summer if it's hotter in your house. But in the winter you can let it go almost a week or whatever. But often what I'll do is just take a single bottle, refrigerate it, and kind of taste how that is, like later that day or the next day. And if it seems about right, then I'll put the rest in the refrigerator. The reason you want to put it in the refrigerator before drinking is if you pop it while it's still warm and try and drink it, it's potentially going to explode and hit the ceiling because it's so carbonated. But once you refrigerate it, it stops that fermentation process and kind of settles it down. So you can generally safely open the bottle without endangering your life. When I say first and second ferment, obviously your first ferment is when you add your black tea, which is 4 family-sized bags of black tea, Lipton, Louisiana, whatever you want to use, and 1 cup of sugar. A lot of people say organic, homegrown, from your backyard, only the best, $75. Obviously, mine's fine. We're still alive, and I just used that. So anyway, go ahead and let this steep for about 15 minutes, and squeeze out your tea. Obviously, if it's too hot, what I'll do, as opposed to letting it sit all day, letting it cool, I'll just add some ice. Speed up the cooling process after it's steeped for about 15 minutes. And you don't want to add scalding hot water back to your SCOBY because it will kill it and all the bacteria and the starter fluid. Go ahead and add your sugar. And I would recommend going ahead and mixing it till it dissolves. If you don't, it'll just coagulate at the bottom and then be one more step that you have to do to try and get all that caramelized sugar off the bottom. But that's pretty cool. Add your tea and sugar mix. So you can see there's still a bunch of sugar in there. Obviously, it can melt a little better or dissolve a little better if you do it while the water's warm. But I'm not a good multitasker, so saying what I'm doing as I'm doing it, it's a little distracting. So when you add your water, one thing I do suggest is using, some sort of purified water probably. But again, it's probably not essential. But we have a reverse osmosis system. So just verify that it's not too hot. Then make sure to leave enough room to add your starter. And the orientation of the SCOBY, I don't know that it's like that crucial, but I do try and put it in the same way that it came out. But it'll figure itself out. The point of the SCOBY, from what I've read, is that You know, it's there to kind of protect itself from outside contaminants, is why it continues to grow, amongst other things. So it will figure itself out. Even I've had, like, if a batch was going bad, we were out of town, went too long, you can save it. You can save the batch, just cut down on the starter from the next batch, and you can even have just a little tiny sliver of a SCOBY that doesn't even look good, and it'll grow itself back and figure it out. Though if you do put it with scalding hot water, that'll pretty much permanently kill it. Now, obviously the gallon probably is only like here, but I like to go pretty close to the rim area just to have more in there. And now you don't want to go to the brim, because as the bubbles, I mean, you'll be able to check this within a couple hours, 2-3 hours, and you'll already see bubbles start rising. But that obviously creates more surface area, and that SCOBY will rise, and you'll start getting leaking around your the top of your, it'll start touching the top of your cloth and whatnot. First ferment ready to go. This is just a piece of an old t-shirt that I cut up. Slap a rubber band on it, and then you'll leave it for a week. And I don't think it's, you know, if you happen to go a day over or a day under, it'll still be okay. But rule of thumb's a week. In the kitchen here, you know, I don't know if it needs direct sunlight or direct darkness. I've kind of read both, but I just put it wherever it's convenient. So we set it here. There's your first ferment, second ferment. I'll leave these out again for today's Saturday, so by Monday or Tuesday I'll have refrigerated them. And that's because it's summer. In the winter, as I mentioned, I mean, you might let it sit till Friday. And that's how you make the perfect bottle of kombucha.